free speech is sacrifice that he is willing to make. What do you guys think about that? Now, Donald Trump says that our Constitution is much more important than jail. Former President Donald Trump said that he would make the sacrifice of going to jail to defend free speech amid his trial in the Manhattan hush money trial against DA Alvin Bragg and Judge Juan Merchan, where the 45th president is under a gag order right now that many people say is unconstitutional. And President Biden is sending a warning to Netanyahu against a major Rafa offensive. Hamas says that they approved the framework for the ceasefire agreement in Israel. And Hamas statement says that they approved the ceasefire framework that was actually put forward by Egypt, Qatar, but Israel remains a little bit quiet on this one. Donald Trump brands himself Lando Norris's lucky charm after a big win in Miami's F1 Grand Prix this weekend. Now, guys, all I ask before we really dive into these topics is that you take 1 second, hit the like button for the video. I totally appreciate you guys. See a lot of you guys jumping into live already. We've got Katalia in the house. What's going on? We got, wow, Katalia is the first one in the comments, as a matter of fact. We got Terry Stratus, Kenneth Winkler, amazing disgrace, awesome. I'm gonna jump into comments a little bit later on. So President Joe Biden's team is now managing perceptions about his age. We've heard for the longest how old Joe Biden is. Should there be term limits put onto presidential candidates and just really anyone in Congress in general, right? Well, Joe Biden is 81 years old or years young, depending upon who you ask. Anyway, President Joe Biden, he's facing a lot of scrutiny about whether he's fit to, have another term in office. So first there's something that they're calling this Operation Old Man. You probably have heard of it, and if you haven't heard of Operation Old Man, you'll know what I mean in a minute. Basically, it refers to kind of like a nickname for the efforts by the White House to kind of downplay the concerns about Joe Biden's age, right? Now, these efforts, however, they might not really be working as intended. Let's just put it that way, right? So as a recent survey actually shows that a whopping 81% of Americans think that he's just too old for another presidential term. What do you guys think? Is Biden too old, or does he have a little bit more gas left in the tank? And not that kind of gas. Anyway, so now let's talk about how Joe Biden is actually planning on how they're helping assist Joe Biden with his daily duties, right? So to make things easier for the old guy, he uses shorter staircases to board Air Force One. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but the stairs are a lot shorter. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't care how many stairs there are. Every time I see Joe Biden making his way toward a flight of steps, whether it's a step or 10 steps, I get a little antsy because I'm waiting for something to happen. Now, he's often surrounded by numerous aides who can assist him during these public appearances because Lord knows he needs it. And he wears these non-slip sneakers to kind of avoid some falls here and there. Every now and then something happens with the guy. He ends up falling on the floor. I can't explain it. But anyway, when it comes to his public appearances and his communications, Joe Biden's campaign, it's kind of adjusting their strategy from that regard as well. They plan to shorten his speeches. They want him to be a little bit more clear and to the point so he doesn't screw up as often. And so this means less is more, so to speak, focusing on quality over quantity, as they say. And then we even heard from Jen Psaki recently. She's the former White House press secretary before Karine Jean-Pierre. And she suggests that Joe Biden should engage more with the media figures who are likely to provide favorable coverage. We already know who those are, right? Name some media or news sites that would likely give Joe Biden some favorable coverage. Let me know in the comments down below, guys. Now, Jen Psaki actually mentioned Howard Stern as an example, highlighting how this kind of an interview would likely appeal to a broader audience, but you never know. You guys let me know what you think. You think Howard Stern would be a good place for Joe Biden? What do you think if Donald Trump went on Howard Stern? How do you think that would go? So now this is a stark difference compared to former President Donald Trump's approach. So on the one hand, you got Joe Biden's team focusing on a controlled safer, let's play it safe, media engagement type of deal, right? But Donald Trump, on the other end, he's on the far end of the spectrum compared to Biden's strategy. So Trump, he is actively ramping up his presence. I mean, you've seen him in front of the courtrooms in New York City and Manhattan. He's showing up at the firehouses in New York. And he's engaging directly with the supporters at these large events like the Formula One in Miami. So Donald Trump, he branded himself as Lando Norris's lucky charm after a maiden win in the Miami F1 Grand Prix just this past weekend. An unexpected presence, by the way, at the race was former President Donald Trump, who was visiting the McLaren garage. And so Donald Trump, whose attendance at the event was a surprise to a lot of people, he was seen engaging with various people in the paddock, but he was kind of focusing his attention on the day's victor during the post-race celebrations. So the 2024 Miami Grand Prix concluded with Lando Norris claiming his first ever Formula One victory. Norris took advantage of a critical moment when the safety car was deployed due to a crash between Kevin Magnussen and Logan Sargent, and also had the optimal tire strategy, which is pretty crucial in those races. Anyway, so I was actually pretty surprised to hear what Democratic voters actually thought about Donald Trump's economy versus President Biden's economy. And I'm hearing more and more, and let me know if you guys are seeing or hearing this. Are you hearing more and more Democrats like kind of leaning toward giving Trump a vote? Like, which would literally break the historical patterns. Like, typically Democrats vote for Democrats, right? But I'm hearing more and more Dems considering voting for Donald Trump here. Just quick shout out. Thank you, Catherine Segrin, for the $1 super chat. Totally appreciate the support. God bless you. But yeah, I'm hearing more and more about this, and I don't know if this is an emerging trend or what. But in a recent discussion about current political and economic sentiments in the United States, there's a significant focus on the differences in the public perception and the economic conditions under former President Donald Trump compared to President Biden. Let's be honest, right? Look at inflation. Inflation is so much higher now. Gas prices, food prices, everything is so much higher under Joe Biden, and a lot of people they're not happy about it. Who's happy about inflation? Who's happy about higher gas prices and spending more money and putting less food in the grocery carts? I mean, let's be honest, right? And so there's a noticeable sense of nostalgia for the Trump years due to the dissatisfaction with the current economic situation under Biden. Surprisingly, shared by individuals across different political affiliations. Now, even Democrats now, they're across the aisle, they're now coming out saying how much better the economy was under Trump's administration compared to the Biden administration. And we've even got recent polls indicating that the economy and inflation, they are now voters' top concerns. Right after those concerns are border control and the illegal immigration policy. And so more voters, they believe that Donald Trump would handle these issues better than Joe Biden. Now, I got to ask you guys in the comments, we're live. How many of you guys, if you think that the economy was better under Trump, type in Trump economy. If you think that the economy is better under Joe Biden, type in Biden economy so I can kind of get a quick real-time poll of where you guys are at with that. Now, of course, this perspective, this is being reinforced by recalling the economic achievements during Donald Trump's presidency, including you had low inflation, you had high employment rates, low unemployment, a reduction in the income inequality, which notably benefited the lower income earners. Let me see. So we got Deborah Hazelwood in here saying Trump economy. We got Patty Williams, Trump economy. Eugene Braxton, Trump. Okay. So I'm seeing a broad across the board. A lot of you guys are saying Trump economy, freedom reign, Trump economy. All right. So the conversation also touches on the contrasting public engagements also. And so, when we compare the campaigning styles between Donald Trump and Biden, there's a big difference in these strategies. Quick shout out to Charlie Wolf King Reed. Appreciate you for the $5 super chat, my friend. Charlie says, I'll be glad when the U.S. gets better. I think we will all be glad when the U.S. gets better. God bless you, my friend. Totally appreciate the support. But yeah, I mean, so Trump, he's depicted as actively engaging with the public. Biden, a lot of times I'm like, where is Biden? Like, I really don't see him out. Are you guys seeing Biden like really getting out there and engaging with his supporters and whatnot in the public eye? Because I feel like they're trying to hide him in the basement or something like that. I don't know if I'm overreacting or maybe I'm just missing his appearances. But anyway, so Trump is depicted as actively engaging with the public, receiving all sorts of positive responses at events like the Miami Grand Prix F1. Whereas Biden's appearances, they're kind of like, they're just like way less enthusiastic and compelling. Like sometimes I look at Donald Trump showing up at these different events, typically when I was about to say courtside, but when I say courtside, most people are thinking like a basketball game. I mean like courtside, like outside of court, because they always got him in court, right? And I think I see these massive crowds and gatherings, right? And there's so much positive support. And I think to myself, what if Biden did that? But then I'm like, would anybody even show up? And could he function around all those people, unscripted, unstructured? I don't know how well that would work out. What do you guys think? I think he might trip on something. He might say something he's not supposed to. And of course, everyone's streaming live there, so they can't really hide his mistakes. Jarita Duckworth, want to welcome you to the channel. Thank you for being a welcome brand new member to the channel. Thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you for joining. And I just want to thank all of you guys for joining the live. Thank you for all of you for joining the channel, for supporting the channel. You guys are absolutely amazing. All the super chats, all the love, sharing of the videos. I mean, just simple things like hitting the like button. Like it really does go a long way, and I totally appreciate you guys. And these observations, I mean, they really they raise a lot of questions about Joe Biden's appeal and the vitality in public perceptions, right? But even beyond that, like further economic challenges are highlighted. Like, look at the high inflation, look at high mortgage rates. We have never seen these mortgage rates under the Trump administration. We're like what, 7-8% on 30-year fixed rate mortgages. I mean, folks ain't happy about that. They're not happy about that. I mean, like if you're trying to achieve the American dream and you go and get a mortgage today, or try to get a mortgage, try to get approved for a mortgage at 7 or 8%, how much can you even afford nowadays? You know what I mean? So, folks aren't necessarily happy with that. And so, and then of course, these are all attributed to the policies of the current administration and of course the Federal Reserve. We can't forget about Fed Chair Jerome Powell. But these high rates, they're particularly impactful on the young people who are striving to buy homes right now. I mean, it's making home ownership extremely inaccessible for a lot of people. And it didn't used to always be like that. I mean, yeah. So I remember when I was growing up, you can get a house for like $200,000. No, hold on. When I was growing up, you can get a house for like $150,000, $140,000, even $130,000 as a starter home. Now, I think a starter home is no less than $380,000, which when I was growing up, $380,000 was like a dream home. Well, what does it look like for you guys? Like in your area, how much does it cost to get what's the cheapest you can get a starter home from in your area? Let me know in the comments, guys. Kevin Rains, thank you, my friend, for the $4.99 super chat. Totally appreciate you. God bless you, my friend. Thank you for the support. And of course, the management of the immigration crisis, the illegal immigration crisis that we're dealing with right now at the southern border. A lot of the associated costs, like the government funding, the hotel accommodations for the illegal immigrants, or as New York Mayor Eric Adams would call them, newcomers. Newcomers it's really getting critiqued for the straining that it's putting on this on the economic well-being of American citizens. I mean, let's be honest. All right. So some of you guys are jumping in. Wait, so T Young says you can't get a starter home for less than $700,000. T Young, you got to be kidding me. So you're saying a starter home is 700 grand? Please tell me what state or city that's in. That is just crazy. That sounds like some like Seattle or California numbers. Let's see. In 1989, interest rates were at 10.5% to 11%. Okay, appreciate you, Trime. Robin Spielman says $400,000 for a new home, a starter home. Pastor Annie Mance says $650,000 in Palm Beach County, Florida. Albert says $750,000. Stephen Gardner says $400,000 for a starter home in Utah. What's going on, my friend Stephen Gardner? Appreciate you checking in, man. We got, let's see. If you guys don't know Stephen Gardner, make sure to check him out. He's in the chat right now. Everybody just say hello to Stephen Gardner. And anyway, make sure to check out his channel after this one. Let's see. We got Nathan Dotson saying 300 grand. Okay, interesting. So at least there are some places in the United States where you can get a starter home under $400,000, which is crazy still. Anyway, so gas prices, mortgage rates, these are being looked at as very, very critical indicators of economic health. And with both of these showing very troubling trends, I mean, it just kind of suggests that the economy is getting worse. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, since we're live, is the economy getting better or is it getting worse? I mean, when we look at this broad analysis, it really just kind of paints a picture of a country that's dealing with a lot of economic difficulties. You got AI, artificial intelligence, replacing people's jobs. I mean, it's rough for a lot of people right now. And it makes people a little bit nostalgic for, how things were under the previous Trump administration. But if I'm a little bit off base, just feel free to let me know. But we actually did hear from Donald Trump after he left the courtroom today. Let's hear what Donald Trump has said just a little bit ago. Take a listen.
The government just said that they want 2 to 3 more weeks. That means they want to keep me off the trail for 2 to 3 more weeks. Now, anybody in there would realize there's no case. They don't have a case. Every legal scholar says they don't have a case. This is just a political witch hunt. It's election interfering. And this is really, truly election interference, and it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. And in every poll, I'm leading by a lot. And they figure maybe they can do something here. Maybe they can do. This case should be over. This case should have never been brought. By the way, Alvin Bragg didn't want to bring the case. Your previous DA didn't bring the case. The FEC said they threw it away. They said, you got to be kidding. Southern District didn't bring the case. Nobody brought the case. And then Alvin Bragg brought the case as soon as, when I'm running and leading, that's when they decided, let's go bring a case. So it's a disgrace. But we just heard 2 to 3 more weeks. I thought they were finished today. And they are finished today if you look at what's happening. I thought they were going to be finished today, and they want 2 to 3 more weeks. The judge asked them, and playing right into the judge's hands. The judge is so happy about 2 to 3 more weeks.
So Donald Trump is saying that they didn't even consider bringing these charges against him until he started running for the presidency. I mean, isn't this awful? And I mean, you heard it here. You heard it directly from President Donald Trump. DA Alvin Bragg is finished. He is finished. Quick shout out and thank you to Vonda Thompson for the $10 super chat. Totally appreciate the support. Vonda Thompson says, do you think that there will be mass protests when Donald Trump does the mass deportations? I wouldn't be too terribly shocked to see pockets of public unrest if there were mass deportations, if Donald Trump ends up exercising or pushing forward with that strategy, because he did say that there would be, I forget his exact phrasing, but basically there would be a really large mass deportation effort. Really hard to say. I think it's all going to boil down to how fair the public perceives the deportation methods. How are they identifying who should be deported and the method in which they're doing it? So I think that's going to have a lot to do with if there's any type of, mass protests or whatnot. So very good question, though. Very, very good question. I appreciate you guys. And Stephen Gardner is saying that these rioters are crazy. Oh, yeah, rioters are definitely crazy. Concrete in my veins. Thank you so much for the huge $27.99 super chat. So Concrete in my veins says, here in Canada, we are overwhelmed by inflation as well. Well, okay, I'm glad to see that it's not just a problem for us. Not that I want Canada to have problems too, but at least it's not just us, Anyway, so Concrete in my veins says that housing, food, goods, we have two cities that have the highest rent costs in the world. Everything needs to change. Wow. I did not know that you have two cities that have the highest rent costs in the world. Wow. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Also, thank you, Concrete in my veins, for the massive super chat. Totally appreciate the support. So we got a statement from Hamas saying that they approved the ceasefire framework that was actually put forth by Egypt and Qatar. But Israel is remaining a little bit quiet about this one here. So the White House and the Senate Department could not confirm this agreement, but a Hamas spokesperson did confirm Israel has not announced its stance on the framework. If it is approved, however, it would extend a pause to the fighting that has raged in Gaza for the past 7 months. Quote, the fighter brother Ismail Hani, head of the political bureau of the Hamas movement, had a phone call with the Qatari Prime Minister, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani, and with the Egyptian Prime Minister of Intelligence, Mr. Abbas Kamal, and informed them of the Hamas movement's approval of their proposal regarding the ceasefire agreement, end quote. Now, news of the agreement actually comes as Israel has appeared to be making, or at least preparing for a ground assault on Rafa, the final stronghold of Hamas in Gaza. Now, the city is also keeping about a little bit more than 1 million Gazans, which were displaced from the north. What do you guys think about this whole situation? I mean, I'm really surprised at how long this war has been going on. I mean, it's been a long time. This is a long time. So, I mean, we're not approaching quite a year, but October 7th will be here before you know it. That's all I can say. Anyway, so Israel urged Palestinians to flee Rafah ahead of the expected operation. We don't need any more losses of life. I mean, we just don't. I mean, I'm all I can do is I can pray for both sides because it's just not good. Israel urged Palestinians to flee Rafah. Overnight on Sunday, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant told United States Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin that Israel was left with no choice but to act in Rafah after Hamas carried out a rocket attack from Rafah earlier in the day that took out 4 Israeli soldiers. Then, of course, President Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu actually spoke on the phone about Rafah earlier today. And Netanyahu has repeatedly vowed to carry out a military operation in Rafah. Now, according to Israel's army, forces are beginning with a limited scope operation. We'll see where that goes. Drop me your comments, guys. Drop me your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about this. Where do you stand on this? Do we pull out of Israel? Do we stop funding it? Do we continue to fund Israel? Do we, do we have U.S. troops sent out there? I mean, what are you guys thinking about what is going on with Israel and Gaza and Hamas right now? NorCal BMX 1650 says, we also don't need Israel or Palestine. Okay, thank you for your comment. Let's see. Shelby Lynn says, we absolutely need to help Israel. Let's see. Willem 03 says, no troops. All right. I appreciate your comments, guys. Because I want to understand. I want to hear your feedback. And let's see, Catherine Segrin says they need to stop bullying Israel. Well, I really do appreciate you guys' engagement, your comments tonight. If you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video. I totally appreciate you guys. As always, Katalia, thank you so much for your help in the comments this evening. You do an amazing job. Again, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit the bell icon so you know whenever we go live. And as always, I want to thank you all so much for sharing these videos on social media, and I'll see you on the next one.